What's up, everyone? Instant reaction to Ironman 2023. It's in the books. Just did it yesterday. Um, I did 2022. Made a video about it. My experience. This is gonna be. It's gonna be mainly about my experience here. I did much better than last year, and I'm paying the price from it today. I feel really sore. I went hard. Last year I intentionally went pretty conservative. I just wanted to finish, and this year I was actually trying to make like really good time. So I went pretty hard. Here are my times. My swim time was 53:45. Last year's swim time, if I pull it up, was 109:26. So big improvement from last year. Um, was a 26-minute improvement. I'm sorry, 16-minute improvement from last year. And a couple of things I can attribute that to. Obviously, I worked a little bit harder in the year leading up to it. But this year, I tried something different. I had been having a lot more success. First of all, I hate swimming and I hate the water. It's definitely the weakest of all the sports for me. I tried something a little bit different, and I was trying it in the pool and I was trying it with my open water training, and that's the breaststroke. I was doing a lot of breaststroke training, and it ended up working out better for me. And now, obviously, I'm not going to sit here. This video is not about what I would recommend anyone do, but this is just for me and what worked for me. And so had that time of 53:45 and really improved, and I basically breaststroked almost the whole way. So here's my swim on my Strava. You guys follow me, by the way, if you want to, Brian Tripp. And here's my swim. I got to a point over here where it was pretty obvious. I could kind of see. I was actually sighting for this is wrong. Obviously, I didn't walk through this island. I don't know if I can. Yeah. So as I was coming around here, I got to about here, and I was sighting for this pole, under this bridge. I was sighting for this concrete, the concrete pillar, and so I hugged up next to this island right here, and then from about this point on, I sighted for this. Once I got right beyond the island, I sighted for this concrete pillar that was right here, this far left concrete pillar on this bridge. And obviously, if you're doing the breaststroke, you can sight like a lot better. But I attribute, that's what I feel like is why I did pretty decent. Comparatively, I didn't do that good. The actual results aren't out, but I actually saw what I did for the swim, I guess, on the app, and I was still pretty low overall as far as like how high I finished compared to the rest of the field. But for me, improving that time from 109 to 53 is big deal. So anyway, that was my swim. My transition time, 5:24. Last year's T1 was 6:49. So improvement there. I was trying to be a little bit more intentional about it. I used transitions to use the bathroom. I used transitions, obviously, to last year I changed clothes. I didn't have a tri-suit. This year I have a tri-suit. So a couple of things that were different about that. And I just tried to intentionally get out a little bit quicker versus last year. I was just trying to finish the thing. So I just wanted to feel good, get my breath. And I'd just been in the water for an hour and 10 minutes and just wanted to try to catch my breath and just take my time. So a little bit difference in T1. My bike this year my final bike time was 6:01. I was really trying to get it under 6 for 116 miles. Really trying to get under 6, and just couldn't quite make it. I was watching looking at my watch the whole time. 6:39 last year, basically 6:40 last year, so improvement of about 38 minutes. So I felt really good about that, about my bike time. Big differences on the bike for me. One, I pushed harder. Last year I didn't push very hard. But two, what obviously what helped a lot was I had a new bike. Last year I had a road bike. No, I didn't have any aero bars. Just an upright bike, road bike. And this year I had a TT bike that was a lot faster. Um, and so, it showed, 2 miles an hour faster. And I went a little bit harder. Um, you know, I felt like I could do a little bit better. But, maybe my training wasn't quite there, quite up to par. I felt like I should have been about 15, 20 minutes faster, actually. But I didn't have an aero helmet. I still haven't invested in an aero helmet. I've had stock wheels. I should, that's another thing you can do is upgrade your wheels and just make little minor upgrades here and there. But did have a TT bike, was a little bit faster, and I went a little bit harder. So about 38 minutes difference there. So I was looking at my 5 mile splits. Obviously I want to hit, sub 15. If I can hit sub 15, that means I'm 20 miles an hour better, and that was my goal. So coming out of the city, I knew I wasn't going to be able to hit sub 15 coming out of the city, where the roads are just terrible. It's a little bit more congested traffic wise, and so that's normal. 19.2, that's normal. And then I started hitting my stride. 14, pretty good. I did the half. Did the half Ironman back in May, and my splits were very similar. 15 something coming out of the city, then it was 14, and then I hit 14, 13, 14, 14, 13, 13, 13, 14. So I was expecting that. So when I hit this 16:26 on that 20th mile, I was really surprised, and I didn't really understand why. A little bit of that was the wind maybe played a little bit of a part, but I didn't really understand. Obviously, a little bit more elevation on this one, on this split. And then 15, I couldn't get sub 15, and I didn't really understand why. And I got a couple of sub 15s here, and I felt pretty good. I felt good overall. And then there was big elevation on this one. I know it says -8, but this is that big climb, and then you come back down. And then I was just paying attention to my splits. I had a couple of 17s, and I stopped to pee once. Maybe that's the one I stopped to pee. I did stop on the bike one time, and it was pretty early, and that does seem right. I think that's actually right. That's the one where I stopped. So that would have been on the 50th mile. I think it was in mile 46, 47. That's right, where I stopped to pee. And then was clicking off pretty good. And then I had another 17-minute split, which I hated. And then otherwise, these splits should have been in the 15s and sub 15, and I didn't have but 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 total sub 15 splits. That's disappointing. I just didn't go. I just feel like I didn't go as hard. And again, I don't know what to attribute that to other than fatigue, cramping definitely here at the end to get these last few weren't quite as well as I'd like for them to have been. But anyway, and then T2, 5 minutes 10 seconds. Last year my T2 was 10 minutes. So really improved my transition 2 time, and was intentional about it. Last year I changed clothes. I got off the bike and I changed all of my clothes completely. And this year I had a tri-suit, so I didn't have to do that. And I was just more intentional about getting out there. I used the bathroom. I lubed up with some Vaseline, which was important for me and my body. The lady smeared me up with sunscreen and did a pretty good job. Missed a glaring spot back here on my shoulder that's beat red, just a little sliver of a spot. But other than that, I got out of transition pretty quick. Towards the end of the bike, about the last 20, 30 miles of the bike, my right knee was cramping up, like right above my knee area. And I was worried. I was really worried about the run. And it was hot, y'all. It was it was nice. It was very nice and cool for half the bike, and then that sun came out, the shade went away, and it was just, man, that sun started zapping me, and I turned out that I just did not hydrate as well as I should have, and I thought I was hydrating like pretty decently, but I started to feel some cramps, and my right knee area was locking up on me a little bit, so my bike times kind of show that. Went from 20 miles an hour, 20 miles an hour, 19 miles an hour, and then high 18s, 19, high 18s, low 18s. So I was obviously dropping off there a little bit. Wish I could have finished at 20 miles an hour. That was my big goal, was to finish at 20 miles an hour, which would have put me around 45 for the bike is what I really wanted to hit, but hit 19.2 miles an hour instead. So a little disappointed. My bike time went pretty hard, but I was worried. So as soon as I got off the bike and handed them my bike and started, walking through transit, I walked from the bike dismount all the way into the tent, which is a pretty good walk. And probably quarter to a third of a mile. I mean, it was a pretty good walk, probably a quarter of a mile. And just walked that whole way, just trying to loosen up my legs. And I still had a pretty good T2 time, transition 2 time. Went in, just kind of changed pretty quick, and went to the bathroom, got some sunscreen on, and just kind of slowly jogged. When you come out of transition in Chattanooga, you kind of do this little, you kind of like go around in this little maze to get out of transition. And the first little bit is flat as you go through the Riverwalk, and then all of a sudden, it's just like straight uphill. So I kind of like really slowly jogged until I got to that uphill. I'm like, let me hike this real quick. Let me loosen out these legs a little bit best I can. The run, gosh, y'all. I mean, the run really kind of upset me. This is where I kind of like was make or break. When I started the run, I just kind of said to myself, this right here, I can pull off a pretty great Ironman time here if I can run, 9:30 to 10-minute miles. And that was my goal. It's like, let's try to run 9.5 to at worst 10-minute miles to come in under 420. And I was doing it okay. Let's go to my total run time was 4:41:55, and I'm going to tell you about that here in a second. A little bit of improvement from last year's 4:57. The Ironman run in my splits. The first split, the 10:22, totally expected. Like I said, I hiked a little bit of that up that first big major hill, because you come out of transition. I don't know if can I zoom in on this? You come out of transition here, and you do this little loop, and about right here, about right here, zoom in a little bit more, is where all this is uphill. All this is kind of uphill. And then once it started to not become just a massive hill, it started to flatten out. It wasn't totally flat, still uphill. I started jogging a little bit more. So ended up with a 10:22 first mile, which was I was like, okay, that's pretty good actually, considering that I hiked some of it. And then I'm like, and I felt good. I felt pretty good. 9:31, 9:45. The 10, I think I'd stopped at aid station. Well, I stopped at all of them, but I think I really stopped. Maybe a little bit more elevation on that one. And it's clicking along pretty good. And then mile 8 is the last 5 miles, 8 through 12, 8, 9, 10, 11, and then 12 is 8 is the start of Barton. So 8 is the start of when you go up the Riverside Drive all the way up. Let me zoom back out. And I know I've done this before, and I'm sure you guys have already seen. I'm not detailing the run course right now, but you go all the way up Riverside Drive. It's about 4 miles, and then you come back through the park, and it's another 4 miles. So that puts you at 8, and then you cross this bridge across a Veterans Bridge, and right here, this is Barton Avenue. So you start the climb, Barton Avenue, right about here is a climb. It's from here to here, and it's steep climb. I hiked it, and then it's obviously just a big screaming hill going down. If you go down too fast, you're gonna burn out your quads, and apparently that was a contributing factor to what I'm about to tell you about here in a second. Then you do this is flat, this little straightaway is flat, and then it's like this loop right here that you do. So you do Barton, and then you do this loop, and then you go back up Barton to go back. This loop right here, it defies logic. It's like the never-ending uphill loop. It seems like the whole thing is uphill. It's so ridiculous. So this is like a little flat part, and this is a slight steady uphill. This whole thing, this whole stretch. And then you make this turn, and this is a steep uphill. And then you're still coming uphill right here. And then you start coming downhill. And then you go back uphill. And then you start coming down. And it's down and flat mostly the whole way back. But I jogged all of this, all these uphills. I jogged all of this. So you're talking about this is miles. So I would say mile 9 is Barton. Mile 10 is the screamer coming down. And then this, mile 11, you're probably around here coming back. And then mile 12 is Barton again. So you come, and it's a longer stretch. All from here all the way up to here is uphill. This is obviously downhill. And then you go around. This is flat. All this is flat. And then this bridge, and that's why my mile 13 is 10:58. I started walking. This bridge it's the pedestrian bridge is like straight uphill to about here, actually about almost the whole way, and then it starts coming down and it's flat, and then you do the little and then you do it again. So this is where when I started going up Barton, coming back. Started coming up Barton, and I was probably hiking that 10:45 is probably some of this too. Started coming up Barton. I started to really feel the pain in my thighs and my quads, and it was pain. It had been painful, but but it wasn't so bad that I couldn't just do it. I couldn't just run and just kind of suck it up. And I was taking something at every aid station. Gatorade, tons of gels. I was probably taking one of those Morton gels once every 30 to 45 minutes. Taking some Gatorade, taking a lot of water, and just to try to get myself hydrated best I could. Try to replace those electrolytes best I could. But, coming up this pedestrian bridge, when I ran this flat, right as I started coming up this, starting at the very beginning, I walked it. I'm like, I can't do this. This is crazy how bad my legs feel right now. And I was really disappointed. It was kind of in this moment right here when I couldn't run this, because it's not a steep uphill, this bridge, but it's uphill. And when I couldn't run that is when I kind of knew deep down, I was like, well, there goes like my good time. There goes my good time on my run. And when I started the uphill back, starting mile 14, I just was walking the uphills, slowly I was running 10.5-minute miles when I was running. And then starting in mile 14, just that whole entire second half marathon, the second half of the marathon, I just walked it. I walked every aid station. My goal was let me just jog aid station to aid station, which are about a mile apart each. So let's just jog them, do the best you can, and I'm telling y'all, I was in so much pain. 10:58, 10:55, 11:33, 11:33, 11:20, 10:30, 10:41. This mile 20 starting Barton again, 11:18, 11:11. 12, and then I start coming down the hill at Barton, 11:04, 11:17, and I'm like, man, GD, I'm gonna finish this damn thing strong. So mile 26, which is, you're doing this flat part, coming back over this pedestrian bridge. You're coming the screamer down Barton. This is all mile 26. This part, and then this part uphill, and then you do this little loop coming back to finish. Went hard, hard, and you can tell 9:17, 8:40 was my pace there at the end, and finished 4:41 on the run. My total time was 11:47. Last year was 13:03. So you're talking about an hour and 16 minutes better than last year. 52nd, finished 52nd out of 156 males ages 40 to 44. Finished 227th out of 947 males. And then finished 261st overall out of 1,266. So 261, finished in the top 80%-ish, You can't complain about that. It's going to be hard to complain about that. Number 261 overall with a time of 11:47.16. And, overall, I'm pretty satisfied. Today I'm paying the price. I'm literally making this video the morning after, and paying the price. My legs are cooked. I'm having a hard time getting out of bed. Really, really cramped up. Really sore. Incredibly sore. And, I probably didn't train as much as I should have over the summer. Towards the end of the summer, I went pretty hard in my training. Had a long taper. I over-rest. That typically does good for me and my body. I try to play with a lot of different things, with nutrition and with taper and with rest and with training. I also got a 100-mile race coming up in like 5 weeks. So that was I was training a lot running-wise, doing a lot of long runs. So kind of have two things I'm training for. Actually, I got Ultraman in February, so I'm training kind of for three things all at once when you include the Ironman. So I probably didn't do as good. I only went on one 100-mile ride, and that was 3 weeks out from Ironman, and hardly rode my bike at all because I was doing so much running. So that probably contributed. So I just learned a lot. I think every time you race, every time you do an event, you're going to learn. You're going to learn more and more and more about your body, your training, your nutrition. And, anything I'm telling you right now, I'm not giving any advice. Just sharing you my experience. Last year I felt great at the end of it. Like I felt so great I was back to training 2 days later. I felt great. And it's because I paced myself and I went really slow. But also, I hiked a ton that year. And I really think I'm just a big believer in hiking and doing stair climber and doing a lot on the bike to really build up that glute strength, really build up your quad strength. And I could tell I didn't quite have that strength this year that I had last year, even though I was a little bit better, endurance-wise. Had a faster bike, a little bit better in the water. But if you look at it holistically, if you get rid of my TT bike, I'm probably doing a similar bike as I did last year, maybe just a little bit better. And my run was just a little bit better. So, and my swim was a lot better. So, really, honestly, I probably didn't improve that much, and that's disappointing. It's disappointing that I didn't train probably as much or as well as I probably should have. But that's on me, and probably didn't spend the time hiking this past summer and spring that I did the previous year. But anyway. Want to do an immediate, kind of reaction. I'm going to make another video about Ironman 2023, so be on the lookout for that here in a few weeks, where I'm going to invite some other people in to maybe do a Zoom with a few other people that did the race and get their experience and their training And so they can give you guys like a lot of different perspectives and stuff. So anyway, Ironman 2023 is in the books. I'm an Ironman again for the second time. Finished 261 out of 1,200 people. Finished in the 80th percentile, and that's a pretty good race. That's a pretty good race. So love y'all. Thank you for tuning in. Appreciate you guys. See you on the next one.